What's up, everyone? Diablo 4 Season 8 has been out for almost a week now, and it's getting hard to avoid the negativity. It's getting hard to avoid all of the criticisms and people complaining around, the builds, the end game, the battle pass, or the new Reliquary System. So I want to talk about it. So let's get into everything, the Season 8 content, the balance, the builds, the progression and the end game, the new systems that they've added, and then overall, I'll just let you know where I stand, with the season as a whole, and kind of where Diablo is sitting amongst the other games. I will say, I do think they've done a lot right here. I think this season they've done a lot of good changes, but there are some things that clearly need work. But let's get into everything. Okay, so first let's talk about the leveling and the progression. So going from a level 1 character to 60 and then starting to climb the torments. And I will say this has been bad in Diablo 4 for a long time. They seem to swing left and right. They make it too easy to the point where, last season you could get to max level in under an hour and loot just was thrown at you. And then they've had other seasons where it's been very slow and tedious and there's just been no drops. I think we finally hit a point where they've hit the sweet spot. I think this is the best season that I've played every season, and I would say this is the best it's been so far. The leveling feels not too slow, but not too fast, so that when you get to, a new set of skill points and you can move down to the next section and get a new skill and put points into it, you feel stronger. You feel significantly stronger. There's enough drops so that, you're getting good items, legendary items, and then you're getting new aspects with the Codex of Powers. You can temper your gear as you level up, and you're feeling stronger as you level up. You can even move from like normal into expert, hard, that kind of thing. And I feel like it's good. The leveling isn't, crazy slow like in PoE where, you have to go through 6 long acts for every new character. You can level a new character in a few hours, but at the same time, it feels good. I think this is the sweet spot in my opinion, and I think leveling is really fun right now. And then not only that, when you hit level 60, the torments aren't easy. Before, you'd get to max level, and you'd throw on a bunch of random gear, you'd throw in a bunch of skills, you'd just temper a bunch of random things, and you could get into Torment 4. Most people could just jump into Torment 4 with very little work. Now it's quite a challenge. The journey from, fresh level 60 to Torment 4, you've got to put the work in. You've got to play a build that's decent, or you've got to, put the time into making your build synergize. You go in burning damage, go all in on burning damage. You'll go in, you go in something like, I don't know, overpower. You go all in on overpowers to pick up all the bonuses so that you can push yourself into Torment 4. And then you back that up with tempering, and you get the Obdicite, and you masterwork your gear. And then when you hit Torment 4, it feels good. It feels like you've earned it. It feels rewarding. That journey of progressing your character, I think we're almost exactly where we need to be. My one worry is that as soon as Season 9 hits, we're making leveling easy, and they're just going to throw it all away. But if they stick it like this, we're golden. Okay, now let's talk about the seasonal content. So this was season of the bosses, and you go and collect these boss powers. You go and beat a boss, and you get his power, and then you can use it. And then additionally, we had some new bosses. We had 2 or 3 new bosses, and they reworked how the bosses, how we farm them and stuff like that. And overall, I think it was good. I think this was a fun system. I really like it. I was kind of skeptical. I thought, who really wants more bosses? But going and fighting the world bosses for the first time, getting their power, you instantly come out and try it. It feels pretty fun. You go and beat like Grigor. You go and beat even like, I still haven't beat Lilith yet, right? You go and beat these. You go beat Belial and Dario. You beat them for the first time. You get their power. Instantly, you just come out and try it, and it's like, that's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. Are there some that are more powerful and we only see a couple actually get used? Yes. But it's a fun system, and you go and do the new incursions, or you go and fight world bosses, and then you get the what they call Ash, and you can upgrade them. Overall, a pretty good system. I've enjoyed it. I think I've got like most of my stuff's like 20 that I'm using, 17, 20, that kind of thing. It's been pretty fun, and I think it's the best version of powers that the one I've enjoyed the most so far. And I think this is where we come to the main problem. This is where we come to the main criticism in Diablo 4 Season 8 and Diablo 4 in general. And it's that this is a season. This is a season from, 3 to 4 months until we hit the next one. And most of our content, the majority of the content is this window. And you can see I've played fairly casually. I've been playing a lot of other games. I've not played that much, and I'm nearly done, right? I mean, almost everything that I want is like leveled up. I'll be done in a couple of days, and this is almost the whole content. There are a few new bosses, fine. They're, you know, the bosses in Diablo 4 aren't their strong point. You go in, you beat them, you get the gear, you do it again, right? They're fine. But this is like most of the content. And the reason I think this is such a big problem, and it's my main criticism with the game right now, is because the game is stagnant. Because of these seasonal powers, the game isn't evolving. The game isn't growing and progressing to be better and better. If you think of the patches we had in the season that we had in the past, right? There was a season that added the pit, which was, you know, a really exciting part of endgame. You go in and you do these timed pit runs, and they get harder and harder and harder, all the way up to like level 100 plus. And the higher you go, the better the rewards. Really good endgame, and it's the staple of endgame now. It's what you spend most of your time doing at endgame. That came in a season, and it's stayed now, and it's made the game better. They added the what were those things? The compasses, the infernal hordes, right? You've got the infernal horde compass, which is like, this came in a season, and it's a wave based thing, and you have like this roguelike experience where you pick powers and they make it harder. And I love the hordes. I think they're great. I think that's a fantastic part of the game. And every time something like that gets added and kept between each season, the game gets better. And you look forward to the game more and more and more because the game is growing. And if you look at where we are now, last season we had the season of the witch. This season we have the season of bosses. And they've put out a roadmap. And next season is new power. So from now until, you know, the next 3 seasons until December, which is wild to say, now until December, the next 3 seasons are just adding different seasonal powers that will rotate in and rotate out, and then small changes, updates to dungeons, updates to infernal hordes. But where's the new? Where's the big new endgame progression? See, I think that's a very valid criticism of the season. If you ask me, you know, is season 8 fun? Yeah, it's fun. Doing all this was fun. I enjoyed it, but it's very lackluster. It's very lazy as a seasonal piece of content. It's very short to get through, and once you're through it, there isn't much more to really get into that you haven't already done. So if you played last season, if you've played this season, that's what I would probably say to someone who's thinking about playing season 8. Okay, now let's talk about the builds and the general balance of the classes. So if we open this is a good site for tracking hell tides. It's a good site for tracking where each of the builds are, where each of the classes are, and how their builds are progressing in the pit. So it doesn't have everything, but a lot of the people that are trying to push as high as possible and, you know, and flex a little bit, they will upload to here so you can see where they are. And I will say this is probably the best balance has been in a long time in terms of class balance. You can see here between like Sorcerer is currently number 1, and between Sorcerer and Spiritborn at the bottom, there are like only 20 tiers of the pit between them, which is fantastic. If you compare this to like the launch of Vessel of Hatred, for example, every other class was here, or like 3 classes were here, and then Spiritborn was up here. So generally, everything's viable. If you're going into a group and, you know, a barbarian turns up, cool. If you're in a group and a rogue turns up, cool, because they can all do pretty well, which is good. And I think this is something that Blizzard have struggled with for a long time, and they've really, to be fair, they don't want to nerf things mid-season. Understandable. You don't want to lose your progress, but that has led to a lot of seasons where one class has skyrocketed ahead. So it's good to see really good balance. With that being said, yes, there's good balance within the classes, but builds are, if you want to be at the top with a certain build, if you want to be at the top and you want to be at the number 1, there are certain builds that are flying ahead. This is the same in every RPG though, so I don't think that's that big of an issue. For example, if you look at like Sorcerer, my first character was Sorcerer. If you want to be at the top, if you want to be pulling ahead of all the people in 60s and 70s, you need to play Lightning Spear. Every single build is playing Lightning Spear, and it's the same with a lot of other classes. You know, there's one build that's ahead, but that's a very ARPG thing. You know, there's always a meta, like there's always something that is ahead of everything else. Now, one thing that I will say is if you go on like the tier list, this is where I'd say we do have a problem, and this is something that frustrates me. you start to notice a pattern. You start to notice that all of the meta builds are staying very much the same. Obviously, some that were S is now A, and some that were B has moved up to S. Things like that. There's a small like variety of things changing. But generally, you know, you look around, Lightning Spear Sorcerer, that was the best last season, it's the best this season. Frozen Orb was one of the best last season, one of the best this season. Cataclysm Druid was broken last season and broken this season. This isn't a big bad problem. It's not like, oh, the season's failing now, terrible. It's just more of the same, which is when you look at like the content is more of the same. The builds are more of the same. You start to see the criticisms. The last thing to talk about is the battle pass. So the battle pass before, it was like 90 or 100 levels. And as you progress, you would unlock different things. There were free things on there, and there were things where you needed to buy the battle pass, the premium battle pass, to get them. If you were free, you would get like a free cool little armor set. If you bought the premium version, you would get a juicier, cooler armor set. And then on top of that, there was like mounts and portals, emotes. You got quite a lot either way. You got a fair bit of things. It was cool. I got a few of them. But now we have reliquaries, and reliquaries are different. You have the free version, which is the Battle Pass reliquary. And then these three here are the premium. Now, if you go into it for free, this is what you get. I might need to hide my camera here. I just hide myself. You get a couple of weapons. You get a portal. You get a horse and armor and 20 platinum. Now, the reason this is a little bit on the scummy side is for this item here. This item here is hands. You get the hands, which means you get one piece of the cool armor set. So you're kind of, they give you the hands, and then it's like, oh, if I want the full set, so that's number one. A bit of a tease. It's a bit of a tease, and it's all mind games. You know, it's all trying to get you to buy. That's mind game number one. Mind game number two is this thing here. You have these favor tokens or whatever they are, and as you're just playing the game, you get more and more favor tokens. Now, the favor tokens unlock items in the store, in the reliquary. Now, as those tokens start to build up, you start thinking, I'm at 99 tokens. You've hit the cap. Oh no, I'm at the cap. And it's like you're no longer earning tokens. Spend them to earn more. That's mind game number two. You feel like you're wasting these tokens because you don't have any shops open, any reliquaries open. So you go and buy another reliquary, and that's another reason to like tease you into it. And that leads us into the final mind game. You've bought the battle pass, you've got everything, you're happy. Hold on, what's this? Deluxe battle pass? Only 2,800 Blizzard Buckaroos? What's this? Well, now you get the wings that match with your set that you've just bought. So if you did buy the battle pass and you got this cool armor set, well, now there's a matching set of wings to go with it. For the small price of 2,800 platinum, which I think is like, I don't know, 20 something dollars. I don't know. But because you've already bought the battle pass, you only have to pay 1,800. So, you know, and all you get here is the wings and like a bird. And you know these are selling as well, because I've seen so many people with these wings. So many people have these wings. So these are flying off. Yeah, that's reliquaries. There are a lot of people that are very frustrated with this. I personally don't care. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm just letting you guys know what it is, why people are frustrated. So that's kind of talking about everything season 8. You know, we've looked at all the different things. There's some very good, there's some questionable, but overall, I'll give my opinion. Is D4 bad? Is season 8 the worst season ever? No, not at all. No, I've enjoyed it. I would say this has been probably a season I've enjoyed more than some of the last few seasons. I think the progression and the itemization is in the best place it's been so far. I think the slow burn to 60 feels much more rewarding. The progression and how they've made the pit harder, the torments are harder to get into, I think is a very, very good change. And I think we're in one of the best spots possible in that part of the game. I think the boss powers have been a lot more fun than I was expecting. Getting them is fun. Using them is fun. You know, they're pretty cool. The incursions kind of like, I don't really like the incursions, but you can get those ash just from fighting bosses. So I've not done an incursion since like the very early levels. So that's been pretty cool. Yeah, the season as a whole, I think it's good. I've had a very fun, it's nearly a week. I've had a fun week. Is there a really cool end game seasonal mechanic that's going to keep us playing for another month? No, not at all. Is there anything really exciting to do now? Not if you played last season. Are the builds really cool and different? Not really. So I think it doesn't make it bad. It was fun. And if you only have like 1 hour a day to play, what I did in a week, you might be doing for 2 months, right? This might be something very fun for a long time if you aren't playing much. So I think Diablo 4 has always been a more casual experience, and it has remained a casual experience. And if you want to come in and have a fun week or 2 or 3, however long you're playing, it fills that requirement. I think this is best played in small doses, and I think it's best played if you've skipped a few seasons. If you played season 4 and then you come back in season 8, you're gonna have a good time. If you played season 7 for 100 hours, 200 hours, and then you come into season 8, you're probably going to be moaning because it's the same. Yeah, that's Diablo 4. That's my honest thoughts on it. I get the criticism. Personally, I found it pretty fun, but I get why people are unhappy, and I fully understand people that are skipping this season. But yeah, that's the video. If you like the video, do consider subscribing to the channel. I also stream if you want to come hang out over there. But that's it from me. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.